Are we good to go, Lise? Okay, great. So welcome everyone to our first webinar of 2021. We are really excited to kick off this series and start with creating a legacy. We know that a lot of you brand founders out there, that's really what you're trying to do with your brand. So how do you harness industry trends, cultivate a growth mindset, and build a successful natural brand? So we're excited to bring you this today. And we really pulled together all the top trends in the natural products industry and put them together in one presentation for you. And then we're going to end the presentation by talking a little bit more about that special sauce that really can take a brand to the next level and what kind of mindset you need to have there. So I am Kate LaBrosse, and presenting with me today is Sunshine Squires. She is our Director of Brand Strategy and a serious industry veteran for those of you who don't know her. So we're really excited to bring this to you today. So we want to start off first by just kind of touching on some of the mature trends. So we know that some trends come and go, right? And sometimes it's hard to kind of decide which ones, are really to like put your money down on, which ones to bet on. But there are those that are really here to stay. So what we're seeing with these, USDA organic, non-GMO project verified, obviously, gluten-free, paleo, allergen-free, mission-driven brands, animal welfare. These are kind of some of the staples of the industry. And we're seeing really strong data to support these as mature trends and as trends that really aren't going away. So non-GMO is up 10%, organic, USDA organic is up 11% in spins. B Corp is up 11%. We're going to talk a little bit more about that a little later. Fair trade, 10%. Animal welfare up 19%. 85 million Americans avoid buying foods with the top 8 allergens, and this category is up almost 20%. So we're expecting this to see continued growth over the next several years. And mission driven is here to stay. No matter what your mission is, whether it is social, environmental, or a health impact, it's more important than ever before to have a mission as the foundation of your company and let it inform every aspect of your business. You get to use it to differentiate yourself and to build an emotional connection with your consumers. And then consumers are empowered to put their spending power to work with brands that are aligned with their own personal values. So these are some that aren't going away, and it's really kind of like we said, the foundation of where we start. So then we're going to dive into power trends, and Sunshine is going to walk you through plant-based foods.
Hi, thanks. So it feels like every year we talk about the growth in plant-based foods. This has been happening, double-digit growth since 2017. And indications are that we're not going to see any slowing or softening of this trend over the next 5 years. So who is today's plant-based food shopper? Well, we've come a long way since aseptic soy milk and not dogs that were all created to sort of appease vegetarians. Today's consumer is flexing their dietary choices from one day to the next. A night of dairy indulgence is then offset the next day by choosing a plant-based alternative. And in fact, half of American households purchase both dairy and non-dairy milk. What's driving folks to purchase more plant-based alternatives? Most shoppers in the space cite perceived health benefits as their primary motivation. Consumers see plant-based foods as not only lower fat or lower cholesterol alternatives to meat and dairy, but as an opportunity to add fiber, nutrition, and functionality to their diets. The environment is top of mind for shoppers. Even when faced with the immediate threats of a pandemic, addressing climate crisis is a priority for many shoppers, and they're supporting brands that are able to draw tangible connections between consumption and impact. Food safety concerns were further amplified by COVID outbreaks last year at meat processing plants. Concern for animal welfare is still relevant, but has evolved beyond abstinence to include considerations like grass-fed, pasture-raised, cage-free. I think it's really especially important for brands to keep in mind that nearly half of the shoppers that decided to buy a plant-based meat said that they simply did so because they like to try new foods, that they're just curious. So where's a growth opportunity for brands? Well, first of all, I want to like kind of talk about on this slide. You see, we tend to focus a lot on growth rates, and that's great. You see that the non-dairy milk is up 25%. But the important thing to remember is actually share. So right now, the base dollars of plant-based alternatives to meat and dairy is still sitting at about 1% share. It flexes by category. But the thing to keep in mind is that there's so much more share to grab. There's so much more opportunity to transition people out of meat and dairy offerings. Growth has come from a wider availability of a broader assortment of offerings across categories. It's also come from better taste and healthier ingredients. Retailers across channels have also helped fuel this growth with higher product adoption and building better merchandised integrated sets. The challenge and opportunity here is for brands to focus on reducing processing, increase nutritional attributes, and deliver on flavor. Refrigerated and frozen meat analogs have moved way beyond hockey puck burgers and now include unique product alternatives like seafood, whole muscle proteins like steak and chicken breast, realistic lunch meats and bacons. And the dairy alternative category, an early leader in the plant-based nutrition space, is growing to include creamier, more nutritious base ingredients like coconut, oats, and cashew. Utilization of traditional fermentation and culture processes are delivering better tasting, more digestible cheeses, yogurts, and butters, like Miyokos that won their legal battle to actually call their product butter. Next slide, please. So another encouraging trend in our industry is the focus on ethical and sustainable supply chains. Transparency around a brand's supply chain allows consumers to validate the ethical behaviors that are important to them. Commitment to more ethical and sustainable sourcing can be managed through vertical integration, direct trade, or the utilization of ingredients that are verified or certified by a third party, like Fair Trade, RSPO, USDA Certified Organic, or Demeter. These investments can help brands to support a more just global economy, as we've seen with the fair trade cooperative coffee and chocolate markets. Companies like General Mills can take an educational role with farmers aspiring to meet regenerative farming goals. Or a brand can tackle a specific issue, like Rebel's efforts to abolish human trafficking in Peru, or Alafia's mission to reduce infant mortality rates in Togo. Brands reap the benefits of a more resilient supply chain, the ability to craft a more unique and meaningful brand story, and they can realize significant price premiums at shelf. Despite the fact that sustainably marketed products make up only 16% share of the CPG market, they actually delivered over 50% of market growth over the past 5 years. Categories where customers have high expectations around functionality, so like say detergent, like laundry detergent, may not have a large percentage of sustainable purchases, but categories with low functionality demands like milk, coffee, chocolate, soap, skincare can see over 20% of their sales coming from sustainable products. Responsible packaging. So responsible packaging has emerged as a powerful trend, and it's showing that consumers are just as interested in what goes outside of the product as they are as what goes into it. Innovation can show up as modification of traditional packaging. Here we see Primal Kitchen, who they replaced the typical plastic microwave container with bio bowls made from sugarcane fiber. Ultra Eco launched the first compostable candy wrapper and stand-up pouch. So Good So You, a local Twin Cities company, is taking on single-use plastic with their Better bottle that recycles the same as plastic, but also has accelerated biodegradation if it does end up in the landfill. Innovation can also be a total reimagination of form. Bite eliminated the tube with their toothpaste tablets, creating the question, why do it the way it's always been done? Highbar, a client of ours, eliminated all plastic from salon quality hair care with their wildly popular shampoo and conditioner bars. Responsible packaging is not just a natural channel trend. In fact, recently Procter & Gamble launched Secret and Old Spice deodorants in cardboard tubes. And TerraCycle's Loop program is able to support brand brand-specific recycling programs for dozens of companies, and they've launched reusable packaging relationships with huge conventional companies like Haagen-Dazs, Tide, Crest, Walgreens, and McDonald's. Brands interested in investing in responsible packaging can find tremendous value and support in joining industry groups like OSC's Packaging Collaborative that brings brands together to share and source plastic reducing packaging solutions. So while many of us would love to put 2020 to rest, and in some ways we did today, there's some, yes, there's some critical and hopefully lasting learnings that emerged from the civil unrest experienced globally. The natural products industry is not immune to the effects or the limitations perpetuated by systemic racism. Entrepreneurs of color need relatable mentorship and access to capital. 84% of our industry's company leaders are white. And just prior to recent initiatives to fund BIPOC businesses, Black entrepreneurs were being granted less than 1% of available venture capital. While it's amazing to have brilliant business minds like Jay-Z and Rihanna investing in CPG brands like Partake, we also need to ensure that these entrepreneurs have access to brain trusts that are specific to their venture. The current consumer base of the natural products industry is only about 27% people of color. To grow this base to better match our population demographics, we need to cultivate brands that ethically engage a broader consumer audience. Industry initiatives that are driving change and supporting these business owners include Project Potluck, founded by the owners and leaders of A Dozen Cousins, Beanfields, and Mason-Dixie Foods. This collective is offering year-long mentorship opportunities to emerging CPG companies owned by people of color. The Jedi Collaborative has published The Jedi Journey, that is an easy-to-use handbook outlining the process of embedding justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion principles and practices into the fabric of your company. We've also seen a recent focus on buying and pitch events designed to better engage BIPOC entrepreneurs, like the Grow North Food Ag Ideas Week pitch event for local brands here in the Twin Cities, for which our team provided brand mentorship.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sunshine. So those were some power trends that are really driving the industry. And then we've put together some emerging trends that are really important for us all to watch. So health is a big topic, and it was prior to COVID, but with COVID and where people are at today, it's even more so. People are seeking out products that nourish the body and the mind, and products that support total well-being. Dealing with the chaos of modern life and addressing modern ailments that are a result of how we're living, we need products to address that. More and more people are waking up and turning on and demanding more from their lives and looking for products to help them achieve that. They're tapping into new science like the endocannabinoid system and ancient wisdom like Ayurveda, healing herbs and fermentation. They're demanding that convenience products also meet their health and wellness needs. That's the mission of one of our local brands, All Clean Foods here, that we work with at Kate LaBrosse Consulting. People are becoming aware of the standard American diet and the responsibility it plays in disease prevalence in our society, and are searching for food that will actually heal. More and more people understanding that food is medicine. And it's becoming more widely known and accepted that health stems from the gut and that inflammation is at the root of all disease. Therefore, there's an opportunity for a more balanced approach to gut health. It's not just about probiotics anymore. And we're seeing a rise in antioxidant supplements and foods that promote beneficial antioxidants in their ingredients. The other thing to really keep your eye on here is upcycle products. I think that this is going to be the next big trend in our industry. And in fact, the Upcycle Food Association just announced over the last week that their certification is ready to go. So up to 40% of all food in our country is wasted. And 60% of people want to buy more upcycled food products. And that's because 95% of us want to do our part to reduce food waste. The Upcycled Food Association, it's a nonprofit focused on reducing food waste by growing the upcycled food economy. It was created in 2019 by upcycled food companies themselves, who recognize the power of collaboration in growing a successful food category and environmental movement. They're in development, as I said, on the certification that they just launched and is now ready to be applied for. Companies of note who have joined the association are Dole, SunOpta, Imperfect Foods, Purina Pet, and local companies here like Field Theory, who is one of our clients, AURI, and Net Zero. Net Zero, I want to actually call out in particular. Sue Marshall is the founder of Net Zero, and they are a food upcycling platform that helps power the safe capture and conversion of industrial food and beverage byproducts into sustainable food ingredients at scale. Sue is committed to her vision of a world with zero food industrial waste. And another one to note is transparency. So consumers now expect food labels to provide greater transparency around the entire product life cycle of their products and their company culture. So it's not just about the products themselves anymore, but really who the company is. Brands are considering the health and well-being of partners and employees by looking to avenues of social empowerment. Employee care, including fair wages, social sourcing in terms of direct and fair trade sourcing efforts, and improving food access to promote equity, diversity, inclusion, and affordability, all serve to positively impact communities. Some transparency certifications that have been around for decades, like Leaping Bunny and Fair Trade, of which there are actually several certifying bodies. Animal cruelty. So Leaping Bunny, as I said, means no animal testing for cosmetics, body care, and household products. Certified Humane came around in 2003, and it's dedicated to improving the lives of farm animals in food production from birth to slaughter. And then triple bottom line certifications are emerging as the new trend here, especially those that include the welfare of their people, as I already said. So fair trade certifications were really one of the first certifying bodies to do this, with creating standards for fair working conditions for laborers outside of the US. And it's evolved into organizations like B Corp, which has over 3,600 companies across 74 countries and 150 industries now certified as B Corps. It's a new kind of business that balances purpose and profit. They are legally required, these businesses, they are legally required to consider the impact of their decisions on their workers, their customers, their suppliers, their community, and the environment. This is a community of leaders driving a global movement of people using business as a force for good. They have created a focus around the BIPOC community as well, and now have a resource section dedicated to helping companies in this area. As Sunshine already mentioned, the Jedi Collaborative is definitely one to watch here. And Climate Collaborative, another one that's leveraging the power of the natural products industry to reverse climate change. They're looking at agriculture, energy efficiency and renewable energy, policy, food waste eliminations, pollutant eliminations, transportation and packaging. And then Food Alliance for safe and fair working conditions, the health and humane treatment of farm animals, reduce risks of pesticides and other toxic or hazardous materials, protection and enhancement of wildlife habitat and biodiversity, conservation of soil, water, and energy, and reduction of recycling waste. Many things here to really think about. And then the last one that we wanted to touch on here is Regenerative Organic Certified. So in 2018, a new holistic high bar standard for agriculture certification was set. Regenerative Organic Certified, or ROC, is overseen by the Regenerative Organic Alliance, which is a nonprofit made up of experts in farming and ranching, soil health, animal welfare, and farmer and worker fairness. It's a revolutionary new certification for food, fiber, and personal care ingredients. The Biggest Little Farm, which came out in 2018, chronicles the 8-year quest of John and Molly Chester as they trade city living for living on 200 acres of barren farmland and a dream to harvest in harmony with nature. Regenerative is going mainstream. Kiss the Ground debuted in 2020 on Netflix with a celebrity lineup that has made it into the mainstream narrative. Non-GMO also did a good job of this when they first came out, really kind of crossing the threshold of just speaking to natural folks and going into the mainstream narrative. The Kiss the Ground Impact Fund supports farmers, ranchers, and land stewards from around the globe in their transition to regenerative practices that heal the soil, revive ecosystems, increase farmer well-being, and help balance the climate. It activates social advocates to lead this movement in their own communities. It supports over 30,000 outdoor screenings on farms in 2021 in partnership with Roco Films and providing the brand new Kiss the Ground educational film that's coming out in 2021. And as I kind of already said, that emerging triple bottom line certifications, it's not just about organic anymore. It's not just about fair trade. It's not just about Leaping Bunny and animal welfare. It's really combining all of these into one certifying body. So we can't talk about trends without talking about COVID and the impact that it's had on our industry.
Right. So I don't think anyone is surprised here about many of the categories that have seen the most growth during the pandemic. We have preventative supplies like hand sanitizer and cleaning products and immunity supplements. And then we have products that suit our new home-focused lifestyles like baking, breakfast, and dinner staples. And then we have products that indicate our efforts to maybe curb the overindulgence that characterized our earlier COVID months, like plant-based foods and non-alcoholic beverages. But within these category wins, there's an unexpected story of how sales have been redistributed among brands. Many category giants have experienced long-term out of stocks, which has opened the door for smaller brands to grab share. The key to success for brands that have come out on top this year has been optimal supply chain management. Companies that are vertically integrated or have direct trade relationships with suppliers have proven to be less vulnerable than companies dependent on market sourced ingredients. The convenience foods that were previously essential to our fast-paced pre-pandemic lifestyles have obviously taken a hit in sales. But many folks are asking, what's going on with CBD? Overall, CBD sales are actually reported to be up approximately 30% over the past 52 weeks. However, sales across the channels that report to SPINS, like mass market and natural and specialty retail, are actually down 13.2% for that same time period. There's been significant leakage to alternative channels like C-stores, gas stations, boutiques, smoke shops, and dispensaries. There's also dollar sales have been impacted by price-sensitive CBD shoppers taking advantage of lower-cost ways of experiencing CBD. While supplement sales are declining across all channels, food and beverage CBD products are up 54%, and body care is up 124%. E-com sales growth has obviously been the leading industry story. Reports of Jeff Bezos's pandemic wealth gains are understandably contributing to consumers' love-hate relationship with Amazon. While having a presence on Amazon is essential for brands, there are some exciting alternative platforms that are gaining traction, like Thrive Market, Grove Collaborative, and a new one, Hive. Now more than ever, brands are realizing the importance of a well-developed social media strategy and how this can boost consumer engagement with their shoppers. Brick and mortar retailers are fighting to maintain relevancy by drawing shoppers into stores with fresh perimeter offerings, adapting with curbside and delivery options, and improved shopper experience through things like we're seeing dark fulfillment stores so that when folks are in stores, they're not so much trying to navigate between the Amazon shoppers. But one thing that's really important to remember is that brands need to maintain aggressive promotional support on center store items with these retailers. Early in the pandemic, several retailers, including Whole Foods Market, experimented with canceling promotions, and they saw catastrophic results. Promotions are still our best tool to encourage trial purchase and to help shoppers make faster decisions at shelf. So I really like this slide. Our friends at the Hartman Group put this together, and I think it's a really great graphic to demonstrate the cultural paradigm shifts that can be triggered by national or global catastrophes. I know that in March or April, as analysts began to speculate how the pandemic might impact and affect consumer behavior, my mind went straight to my personal experiences as a natural products retailer in 2008. While today shoppers are facing similar economic constraints as we saw in the recession, they're demonstrating a really unique prioritization of community and purchases that create benefit, not just for themselves, but for the collective. In a recent survey conducted by New Hope, 75% of shoppers surveyed said that their personal health has become more important to them in 2020. 66% said environmental or planetary health has taken on more importance. 74% said social equity and justice are more important than they once were. And in all, 62% of consumers surveyed said that they are more likely to purchase from food brands that publicly stand for the causes that they believe in.
Sunshine, this feels like a theme that's running through our entire presentation, right? Like
It
really,
is.
yeah.
It's it's great when it's moved from being sort of a moral story to a sales story, and
I love it.
Can be both.
Exactly. It's great. And then, Sunshine kind of already talked about this a little bit, but we can't talk about the impact of COVID without looking at the online story, building a community in your DTC sales. So 2020 has forced brands to think about how they're connecting with consumers in a whole new way. Once many of the traditional methods were no longer an option. So what do we do when we can't demo? Brands have pivoted to virtual storytelling and put an emphasis on that really engaging storytelling of the brand. These brands that have done that and done it well have emerged strong despite the pandemic. Standing out in virtual space is tough. The brands that did it successfully understood that they needed to make their audience participants, not just spectators. Brands need to think about the experience that their audience, that their consumers are having beyond just the time that they're live or engaging with them in some kind of social way. And to do that effectively, you need to really narrow your focus. Get very clear on who you serve and how you serve them and why. So some ways to do this are with online cooking classes via Instagram TV, launching your own podcast, launching your own YouTube channel. TikTok is definitely something that has emerged in our space, and I've seen some new emerging brands use this really effectively and have almost skyrocketed their sales overnight. You can do a DTC sampling program. Midday Squares did this really well when they first launched, and had a very inexpensive option for new consumers to sample their product. So they use that as a way to get that trial without having to demo. You can use your packaging to show your values. The brand we have up here, Forager, did a really good example of that and Bronner's, Dr. Bronner's also does this really well, but they change their packaging, update their packaging to really highlight specific initiatives that their company is passionate about. And here's the thing, these trends are not going away. This is going to become the new normal in our industry, and it's the evolution of how to build brands. So that's a lot of trends that we just went over, and we kind of looked at them from more of a macro scale. Obviously we can get way more category specific, but those trends, those really specific category trends or really specific ingredient trends actually tend to fluctuate over time. You can't really count on them to stay. So the way that we thought about this presentation for you was to look at the ones that we know are really here. They're not going away. They're driving a ton of growth, and they cross multiple categories. So having said all that, we wanted to talk a little bit about the heart of success, no matter what the trend is. So what is the must-have key to success? I ask this question of kind of when I'm on any panel or in any discussion, I ask, and people say it's your product or it's your pricing or it's your packaging. It's not any of those things. It is you. It is your passion, it's your gifts, it's your unique way of expressing, it's your message, it's your vision that you have for your company, for your brand, it's your urgency. How quickly do you want to move? How badly do you want it? It's your determination, your values, your resiliency, your agency. This more than anything will drive the success of your brand. Get very clear on who you are, on how you serve, and why you serve them. And then once you're kind of clear on that, then it's the mission or the vision. So what's the impact you want to have? What are you aiming for? What lights you up? What kind of impact do you want to have? What kind of impact do you want your products to have? Who are you helping? For us at Kate LaBrosse Consulting, and for me personally, the vision that drives me is natural products on grocery store shelves everywhere, available to everyone. It's grocery stores not filled with poison marketed as food. That is what drives me. And it's a mental health system that puts nutrition and lifestyle habits at the center of their therapies, not as periphery, like outside support. And it's people empowered to take their health into their own hands. These are the things that drive me. This is how I have built my company, and it's the values that drive us in how we are working with folks. Then from there, it's the problem that you're solving. What issue are you solving? Who are you serving? You want to keep your audience in mind, your customers, your clients, the people you want to serve, the need that you want to fill, the change that you want to see. If you're not solving a problem with your products, what are you doing? Are you doing it? So think about really what problem are you solving? And then after all of that, then it's the business plan. Then it's all the tactics that go along with it. Then you can think about, the supply chain and the packaging and the ingredients and the brokers that you're going to use and the distributors that you're going to go into and the team that you're going to build and the sales channels that you're going to look at. This all comes after you get very clear on those first three things. And then just to kind of wrap it up, I wanted to just touch on this because we talk to so many brands here at Kate LaBrosse Consulting, and I don't know how many times we hear, but what about COVID? But I don't have, the sales yet, or I can't demo. And for us, but is just another way of saying success is possible, but I'll never know. And we love working with the folks that say, I know success is possible and I'm going for it. It's those folks that we can help take them to the level that they want to go and achieve their goals. So thanks everyone for tuning in to our presentation today. This was live on Facebook, and we will get this up on our YouTube channel as well. If you're on our mailing list, we'll get you all that information, and you can always reach out to us if you want to set up a strategy call or talk to us about what your goals are. We'd love to hear them. Thanks so much, everyone.